Welcome. In front of me I have the brand new Honor Magic V3, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at the device and its specifications. So, getting into it, this looks a bit cut, just not all the way through, and it looks like it's double sealed. I am curious what's under there. You know, when you're overpaying for a device, you might as well be absolutely freaking certain that you're not getting, shafted right here. If I can just peel that off. Nope, I can't. Okay, whatever. Where's my little knife? There we go, found it. I mean, guess that is cut. Okay. There we go. So, popping that open, we have some basically a legal document for the warranty that is obligatory in Poland. There we go. Next, we have this absolutely thin device. Let's just slide it out. No, come on. Can I get it out there? Oh, for goodness sake, I guess I'm just gonna do it the normal way. There we go. Now, one thing that I really like to like about the non-Samsung devices is the fact that their displays are almost have no crease. But I also started noticing that they do come unfolded for a reason. As when they're unfolded, they look the best. So you can see there's barely any crease visible. But if I were to fold it and just keep it folded for some time and then actually unfold it later on, or like do it several times, you will start to see a bigger crease. Like you can already see it a bit more than you were just a moment ago. Anyway, I'm gonna set that to the side for now. Next, we just have a thick cardboard of nothing, and below that we have a full package. Let's go. Okay, no charger unfortunately, but we do have a charging cable. I guess that doesn't really come as a surprise. And then we get some paperwork, but more importantly, we get the case. So you can see here is our case. Let's just get rid of this cardboard piece. And the case itself looks really nice. Kind of curious what this is. Oh, that is cool. So it has a kickstand built into it. That is pretty sweet. Now let's just pop it straight on. There we go. Funny thing is, even with the case, the device is still thinner than the Samsung without it, by a decent margin, I presume. This is, at the moment, I think the thinnest foldable phone on the market. So yeah, it is. It's actually, I think, as thick as my phone. Putting that on as well here. I'm not getting rid of the little pull tabs right here for the sticky stuff. I'm just kind of like dry fitting it right now. There we go. So it would kind of look like this with it on. I personally, when using the cases, I do just use the back one, not the front one. So yeah, that's kind of how I roll. Anyway, let's put it up. And while it's booting up, let's get rid of the box. And kind of curious if I can set it up like, that's a bit wonky. Okay, like this. Yeah, it does have a pretty decent angle right here. Okay, so that's pretty neat. I really do like the inclusion right here for the kickstand that is built into the actual, like, around the lens. It's minimalistic, so you don't really get to see it, but when you need it, you just plop it out and you're good to go. And it magnetically attaches back on there, and obviously it has some resistance to it. Now, taking a look at the device itself, and on the spec side, we are looking at the cover display right here being a, if I can figure out which one I switch, there we go, 6.43 inch display with a resolution of 1060 by 2376 pixels, putting it at 402 pixels per inch. It is an LTPO OLED display, 1 billion colors, 120 Hz refresh rate, Dolby Vision, and a peak brightness of whopping 5000 nits. Wow, that is insanely bright. And then the inside screen is a 7.9 inches, also foldable, in this case LTPO AMOLED display instead of the OLED. 1 billion colors, HDR 10 plus, Dolby Vision, 120 Hz refresh rate, and a peak brightness of 1800 nits. So much dimmer compared to the cover display. In terms of screen to body ratio of the internal display, we are looking at 88.6% screen to body ratio, and for the cover display, it's not really stated unless I'm just kind of like not seeing it. Yeah, I don't think it is stated. But nonetheless, it is a pretty small bezels all around. One more thing that I really like about the Honor, though the Honor V2 had this a bit more aggressively, is the curvature to the cover display. So you can see that it's rounded all around. The previous one had more of something like this, just on one side, the typical kind of curved display, which I personally really liked, as I am right-handed and swiping from the back gesture was just so much nicer, and it was just from one side, which at least for me as a right-handed user fit freaking fantastically. Now, with the displays out of the way, we can now talk about the cameras. So we have a triple camera setup at the back, which the main sensor is a 50 megapixel f1.6 23mm wide lens with optical image stabilization, PDAF, and then we got a 50 megapixel f3.0 and 90mm periscope telephoto lens with PDAF optical image stabilization and a 3.5 times optical zoom. And that follows up with a 40 megapixel f2.2 aperture, 16mm ultra wide lens with autofocus, and that's about it. There is also a laser autofocus, LED flash, HDR support, and panorama, which you obviously expect that. And with those cameras, you can record videos at 4K up to 60 frames with 10-bit color, 1080p up to 60 frames as well. And that supports gyroscopic electronic image stabilization and also optical image stabilization. You might notice that there is no mention of slow motion here, which is weird. It might be just that it's not listed. I presume the device does support slow motion. I could be wrong. And I also want to add that I am getting all this information from gsmarena.com for people that really want to check it out themselves on the paper. So then if we flip it over, we have two more cameras technically. So we have 20 megapixel here and another 20 megapixel inside, and these are basically the same cameras. So both of them are f2.2 aperture, 90 degree 21mm wide lenses that record videos at 4K up to 30 and 1080p also up to 30 for some reason. So there we go. Now if we go into the internals right here, the device is also not slacking around. We have a 5150 mAh battery, which is freaking insane for a foldable device that is also the thinnest on the market. That is a gargantuan battery for such a phone. The biggest one I think so far for any foldable phone. So that is pretty nice. Sorry for that. And so yeah, with a huge battery, we also aren't slacking off with the charging speed right here. So we have a wired speed of 66 watts. It's miles ahead what Samsung offers, even with their most premium phones, which is the Galaxy Fold 6, which that garbage can charge at like, what is it, 22 watts or something like that. It's absolutely insulting for an $1,800, or sorry, now it's $1,900 device because inflation. So yeah, it completely blasts Samsung out of the water there, and additionally, it's not even holding punches when it comes down to wireless charging, as it supports 50 watts wireless charging. Now, if you looked into the previous model, even though it was also one of the thinnest foldable devices and looked very similar to this, it was still a fantastic device. It lacked wireless charging, as Honor claimed that they just didn't have enough space for it and it wasn't really worth doing that, which I'm fine. But not only did they increase the battery, made the phone thicker, they also plopped in a wireless charging, and not like garbage one. It's 50 watts. This phone charges twice as fast, if not more, than a Samsung with a cable. Let that sink in. So yeah, this is pretty insane all in all. And additionally, obviously, in terms of other specs like the RAM and processor, it's also not holding any punches here. So Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, the newest one we have right now, with either 12 or 16 gigabytes of RAM. So going over the storage options, we are looking at 256 and 12 gigs of RAM. This is the entry, 512 with 16 and 1 terabyte with 16. All of these options use UFS 4.0 storage type, so that means that it's a pretty fast storage, and that is important for instance, 4K video recording at like 60 frames. This just makes it so it's going to be read and written a bit quicker, and you have less time just kind of waiting for the video to be coded. So that's it. And unfortunately, there is no expandable storage, but I am completely fine with that, as the device is insanely thin, so expecting them to also add a SD card reader right here, I feel like that is just asking too much. The device is already just overall one of the most impressive foldable devices on the market, I would say. And moving into the software, we are looking at the newest Android 14 running on this device with macOS 8.0.1, at least at the release. But yeah, it's running Android 14 out of the box, and obviously it's going to be running not most likely, but it's going to be running Android 15 once that comes out at some point, and possibly even Android 16, as usually the devices have like 2 years of support. That is like Android software updates, so that's pretty good. And yeah, that's basically everything that there is to the device. It is a fantastic foldable device. Now, another thing that I want to mention is the price, and GSM Arena has kind of the price all over the place. So the entry one, or at least the dollar one, isn't correct, I believe. It's nearly $1,500. I don't think that is correct. I think this device is running similar price as Samsung. So let me quickly check. Magic V3, and we are looking at, come on, let's do buy, let's go Europe. I'm gonna select Poland, as that's where I am from. Buy now, and we have a couple options. Let's just go to a typical electronics store like Media Expert, and they're selling it for 8,900 PLN, which will convert to $2,324. I don't think that's correct. What the heck? Looks like it is. Now I do want to point out that the price that I'm saying is also including tax, so most of the US prices, the dollar ones, don't include tax. That is something that we have to add on, right? I'm gonna also check it out on other sites. So, come on, load it up. Did I just lose internet? What an unfortunate time for that. Oh, there we go, it loaded. So, let's see. Yeah, but it looks like the price is pretty official. There is one selling right now for 7,800, which I don't even know if it's new. Yeah, it's not even new for some reason. I mean, the device is new, but the offer, it's already been opened and used by someone. So yeah, 1,000 PLN less, which is about $250 less for technically an opened device, and no other listings. I also want to check out the Galaxy Fold, what is it, 6 now or 5? I think it's 6, right? Yep, that's 6. So, okay, so Galaxy Fold, at least the first one that I'm seeing, is already more expensive, but that is running a 1 terabyte of storage. Galaxy 6. Ooh, yikes, that is a bit cheaper. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly check if this is a new listing. The reason I'm checking all of that is because it does give a perspective of if the device is really worth it or not. So this appears to be a brand new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6, 12 gigs of RAM with 256 of storage for 6,360 PLN, which equates to $1,661 including tax, which is actually under the MSRP of this device, which is normally $1,900. So yeah, Samsung Galaxy, at least the one where I'm seeing right now, is below the price. I think typically they're about the same price, judging by other listings. Even from Samsung, it's coming at about the same price as the Honor. So if you can get it cheaper, I think actually Samsung might be just a bit better pick, as in terms of support and stuff like that. I think even though Samsung is very sketchy and there's been just, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, probably wouldn't want my Samsung to explode in my pocket, so I probably shouldn't be recommending this. But if we just skip the fact that Samsung apparently has a problem with things exploding, like their notes and their earbuds, if you're interested, I would recommend checking out the earbud situation. And then being also kind of scammy when it comes down to repair services. At least I was using a Fold 4, I think it was, and under 2 years my screen started malfunctioning. So when I would open it up like I just did here, sometimes it would just kind of flicker and not turn on, and I would need to close the device, wait a moment, and then reopen it again. What I think happened is the foldable display ribbon that connects the two sides was breaking, and that was causing the screen to just kind of disconnect basically. And the device was still under warranty. I brought it in there and they refused to service it because I didn't have the original proof of purchase. I bought it new from a seller on basically what's equivalent to like Amazon, and they themselves purchased it somewhere else, and because I didn't have their proof of purchase, I had mine, that didn't count for shit, and they refused to service it. Now, because the device was under 2 years, Polish law, at least, I think it's actually European, makes it so the device is covered under warranty for 2 years. So I contacted the seller, nothing, the seller was gone, so I literally just sent it back to him, at least the address that the site gave me, and I got refunded the entire amount after 2 years of using the device. That's what I call winning, and that's one of the things that I have with Samsung. You can go for Samsung, it's a great device when it works, but when it doesn't, it just gets kind of iffy. So I haven't used this for any extensive period, nor did I use the Magic V2 for like years like I did the Samsung, so I have no clue how these hold up. But like I said, I know how Samsung holds up and how they do their business. Another thing that I want to point out is, at least for Samsungs, because I'm mentioning that because this is a good kind of alternative if you're looking for it, especially if you can get it probably cheaper. The software will be better on Samsung than it is on here, that is undeniable. But these phones use can kind of see it right around here, a screen protector on the foldable display. That will start coming off, which I think it actually already is kind of like not the greatest right here. And that was straight out of the box. You can, no, wait, is it coming off? Oh yeah, it is, okay. So yeah, this will most likely start coming off after some time of usage, which, at least for Samsung, they will replace that under the warranty for free. But they do void your warranty if you remove this, and also void your warranty if you don't replace it in time. So they basically, like, if it gets too damaged, they're like, no, your warranty's gone now, for bullshit reasoning. It's Samsung, obviously, so they do Samsung things. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. Other than that, this device, I personally really like it. Something about the size of this and the package, where it comes with these case that is, I presume, actually real leather. Might be, I'm not sure exactly, but it does kind of feel like an actual leather. So yeah, it's could be honestly real leather case, which is fantastic. Has a kickstand built into it. The phone is thin, has a bigger battery, charges faster. It's just all across the board better than Samsung, minus the software. Software is where Samsung wins. So it's really depending on what you are going to be looking for. And another thing that I want to point out is what you are actually expecting from a device. The reason I'm mentioning that is because I myself was using a foldable device for just trading, and that was pretty good when you open it up and you have a big view of like the charts and stuff like that. But personally, using it for watching videos and stuff like that, I would have been watching it on closed display, as these are pretty much the same. If this is close to 16:9, that's what most YouTube videos are, and that's what you're gonna get on the internal screen as well. It's just going to be middle instead of like bottom, unless you do split screen. So you're not getting any more screen real estate than you do with the front display. So if you are looking for like just media consumption, it doesn't give you any kind of benefit. If you're looking to just absolutely doom scroll through different things and have like TikToks and just a bunch of applications, just scrolling through all of them at the same time, it will do the job, but that is like a speedrunning brain rot basically. So probably wouldn't recommend that. And additionally, spending probably over $2,000 on that is a little bit of a not wise idea, I would say. But like I said, if you do any kind of work or anything that actually requires a big display like this, and it benefits from being basically a square display, as that is the biggest upside and downside of these displays, being square, then it's a great device. Like I said, I've used it, and when you can use that display to its fullest potential, it's fantastic. But 90% of the time, you will not be using this display to the fullest potential, and you will most likely end up just using, for the most majority of the time, the cover display. And that is also another thing that is good about this device. The cover display is completely usable. It's basically as big as my display right here. So yeah, they are very comparable. I think these are probably the same kind of screen sizes, or very close to it. And in terms of thickness, let's actually take that off if I can. Come on. Now taking that off is up for some reason not very easy. Come on. Yeah, this is like holding on there. There we go. Unfolded, this display is just razor sharp, like thin. As you can see as a comparison. And if I fold it, it's barely any thicker than my not foldable device. So yeah, absolutely amazing phone. I can't really complain about it. It seems like step up in foldable technology right here with what they're packing inside, and it's a all in all great device. I'd recommend it if you're looking for a just good phone. If you're looking for a great software, probably Samsung. But like I said, before you make any of these purchases, just look into what you're going to be using this and evaluate if you actually need a foldable phone, as foldable devices do have the downside of having a very vulnerable inside display. So it's a downside of foldables, that the screen inside it can get damaged, and because it does fold after some time, it just will damage no matter how well you try to use the device, how careful you are. So yeah. So if you don't need a foldable device, I probably recommend staying away. But if you do have some kind of use for it, it's a fantastic phone. Now, with that being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.